A thunderous setback has rocked the nation's chief as a well-known political writer drops a bombshell critique over a tense standoff with America's top leader. What twist lies ahead in this unfolding drama? The respected columnist, once a trusted voice in international affairs, now joins a growing chorus urging the head of state to either repair his fragile bond with the U.S. chief or step aside for someone new. Could this bold demand mark the turning point in his rule? In the wake of a chaotic Friday meeting, with the nation's leader, the American head, and a key aide, the bitter fallout has stirred many of the most influential supporters to call for change. Might this public uproar be the spark that shifts loyalties forever? Two senior figures, one celebrated for his diplomatic charm and another known for his steadfast backing, have voiced deep concerns, noting that repeated visits during the conflict have left the leader without a solid footing. Is his position truly as shaky as they claim? Adding his voice to the growing clamor, the seasoned writer, once a speech scribe for a former president and a longtime advocate for the nation, penned an op-ed that boldly insisted either heal the rift with the American chief or resign. Could a simple apology be the remedy? In that fiery piece, he blamed the whole mess squarely on the leader, pointing out that the U.S. chief had warmly welcomed him and even dismissed their past disagreements with ease. What misstep set off this chain reaction? It was as if the American's steady promises and kind words about the leader's casual style should have filled his heart with gratitude and hope. Yet, why did things go so terribly wrong? Instead of embracing the goodwill, the leader lashed out against the call for a ceasefire, sparking a dramatic collapse that stunned onlookers. Was this defiant act a fatal error? With palpable disbelief, the writer asked, why would the chief choose to challenge the American leader's words on a global stage instead of quietly weighing the idea of a truce behind closed doors? Could there have been a better path to follow? The meeting was meant to be a warm, backslapping celebration of a crucial minerals deal, a moment of shared triumph. Instead, the chief barged in uninvited, interrupting at every turn to drive his point home. Was this overzealous behavior doomed from the start? He didn't stop there. Later that evening on live television, the leader stubbornly refused to apologize, leaving the grand residence without mending the rift. Can pride ever yield to the need for reconciliation? The columnist warned plainly that the chief cannot afford to show raw emotion on the world stage. He reminded everyone that while the continent lacks the strength needed by the nation, survival depends on a close bond with America's top leader. Is there any space for sentiment in these hard times? His message was clear: if the leader can't manage his ties with the U.S. chief, then the only choices are to offer a sincere apology or bow out gracefully. Will humility finally overcome stubborn defiance? Defiantly, the chief insists he did nothing wrong, a stance that, as the writer stresses, simply cannot hold. Either he must bridge the gap with an apology or step aside for a fresh start. Is this the moment that will redefine his legacy? Inside a grand office on that fateful Friday, a fierce war of words broke out, spiraling wildly when the American head felt slighted by the chief's harsh treatment of his trusted aide on live cameras. What unexpected spark ignited such chaos? One prominent diplomat hinted that the leader still owes a genuine apology, condemning the behavior that led to the office blow-up as utterly unacceptable. Will accountability finally find its voice? He explained, "You only saw the final scene without knowing all that led up to it. Our American chief has always been clear, even during his campaign, that this conflict was a mistake from the start. If he had been in charge, it might never have happened." Does hindsight reveal a missed chance for peace? Continuing, he added, "Now the chief is trying to end this conflict, and we've laid out a simple plan: bring the opposing forces together at the table and see if a lasting peace is possible." Could careful negotiations be the cure for years of strife? According to this seasoned diplomat, the events of the past 10 days made the outcome all but expected. In truth, the meeting was nothing more than a formality to sign a minerals deal. Is this just a prelude to even deeper discord? He urged the leader, say sorry for turning a promising moment into a total mess. Will the weight of the moment finally break through his stubborn pride? He added sharply, "Don't show up just to lecture us about diplomacy failing." The chief steered this conversation into chaos, and we saw exactly where that path leads. Is there any hope left for a return to calm? Another senior lawmaker, known for his frequent trips to the region, even as recently as last year, and for his strong backing of U.S. support during the conflict, had met the chief mere minutes before the explosive showdown. What did those repeated visits reveal about his deep commitment? In a widely watched interview, he expressed deep sorrow over the events, calling the outcome nothing short of devastating. Could such heartbreak foretell further upheaval? He lamented, "All our efforts to build a fresh bond with the Americans around our vital minerals agreement were wiped out in a single day. Is there any chance to rebuild what has been so drastically shattered?" He reminded everyone that he had warned the chief to show some gratitude toward the American leader and then posed a startling question: is the chief still redeemable in the eyes of the American people? After today's events, can anyone trust him as a partner? After his meeting with the U.S. head, the choice was laid out clearly for the troubled leader: either resign and let someone more agreeable take charge, or change his approach entirely. Which path will he choose under such mounting pressure? In his first major interview after the debacle, the chief stood firm, refusing to offer any apology and insisting that the American leader should lean more toward their side. Can such bold demands shift public opinion in his favor? When pressed directly about owing any apology, he stalled with long-winded answers before finally denying any wrongdoing, even trying to sound polite by saying, "I'm not sure we did anything wrong." Was this a defiant stand or a lost chance for humility? He then thanked the American people for all their support, praising both the former head and the bipartisan backing from lawmakers. Could sincere gratitude mask the simmering tension beneath the surface? Recalling the early days, he added, "From the very start, you were our lifeline, our hope for survival. We are meant to be partners." Does this deep-rooted history truly bind their fates together? When asked a second time, he remained unmoved, doubling down on his stance with blunt honesty: "We must be upfront with each other. No one wants more than we do to end this fight for our freedom." Will such raw truth pave a path to peace? He made it clear that he needs the American leader to stand firmly on their side, to help put an end to their common enemy's threat. Could unity be the key that unlocks a brighter future? When an interviewer pressed him on whether it was fair for the American head to stay neutral in talks, he shot back firmly, "I need him to choose us," without hesitation. Will this bold plea tip the scales in their favor? He added, "The American leader promised to end the conflict, and I truly hope he does. With our European friends, we must keep the pressure on. Can this united front finally bring about the change they all yearn for?" In a nod to old wisdom, the chief even tried to borrow words from a past leader to capture his vision of an agreement. Do echoes of history hold the key to a peaceful future? He explained, "Peace isn't just the end of fighting, it's about a fair, lasting calm that benefits everyone." Is such an ideal within reach, or merely a distant dream? He didn't hold back in accusing the American head of dishonesty when he claimed he wanted to return to power and start over immediately. Can truth ever clear the fog of conflicting claims? Sharp in his reply, he said, "No. We came here for peace. The minerals deal is just the first step toward real security and calm. You have to live our struggle to understand it." Will empathy bridge the vast gap between their worlds? Continuing, he stressed, "I deeply respect our fighters and every citizen who supports them. I can't just call for an end because fear of our enemy's return keeps us awake at night." Is caution slowly turning hope into despair? He admitted that while he respects the American leader and his people, he remains convinced he's speaking the truth about his own challenges. Can honesty withstand the storm of divided loyalties? He argued, "This bitter spat hurts both sides. I cannot change our hard feelings toward those who have caused us so much pain. Still, our bonds with the American and European communities remain strong, even if we must face reality head-on." Will the cost of conflict ever be fully understood? Further, he declared that his nation craves peace and diplomacy and is ready to negotiate, directly countering the image of endless fighting. Can dialogue truly mend what force has broken? He affirmed, "Our nation stands for peace, and we're committed to solid talks that lead to fair and lasting calm. We must be firm at every negotiation table." Will this resolve break the deadlock that holds them captive? In a final twist, a noted interviewer asked if the fractured ties with the American leader could ever be mended. Is there any way to rebuild trust after such a public breakdown? With a nod to deeper bonds, he replied, absolutely. It's not just about two leaders, it's the strong connection between our peoples that I cherish. That bond is what keeps us moving forward. Can those enduring ties light the way back from this deep divide?